episode 10 of season 1 of Grow and Tell. I'm here today with Jorge Cervantes. He is one of the most world-renowned experts on indoor and outdoor cannabis cultivation. He, in my opinion, is one of the first cannabis influencers who used to hand out his VHS tapes, which some of us remember what those are, maybe not everybody, but he still provides so much help to the cultivation community, writing books, posting on YouTube, doing all the things that I really appreciate in a person, which is to share their knowledge. So Jorge, I want to say thank you so much for joining us today. Would you like to give everybody a little introduction on who you are, maybe expand slightly?
Yeah, sure. First, I want to say thank you and and also respect my region. I love it. Love the title to begin with because it's all about what we do right here, right in front of us, right now, and that's pretty hot stuff. I've been in this. I took some notes so I'd remember. I got them on. Yeah, well, you can't see that. Anyway, I my first book was Indoor Marijuana Horticulture, and that was 1983, like almost 40 years ago, right? Pretty amazing. But there wasn't anything around, and everybody was growing in the Northwest. So I did that, and that opened a lot of doors for me, and I've been publishing ever since. I make already 50 books in the last 40 years. And eight different languages, and sold a lot of books, over a million of just the one that you have that's all beat up.
I was showing him my copy, everyone, which is it's got duct tape on the cover, and I've spilled probably 40 different nutrient formulations on it, and dropped it in a couple trays, so it's well loved. But it was the first book that anybody gave me when I got into cultivation, so it's very cool to have you on here.
Well, thank you so much. I'm really glad it helped. But now I got a new project. I'm making a digital book, and because it dawned on me, people aren't reading books so much, they use this mobile phone here, right? And so if it's formatted for this, an iPad, and then the computer, everybody can use it. And this one's going to be free, like 100 pages, 250 photos, or more than that. And so it's formatted for all of that stuff, and everything's really high resolution. So you can look at it, download it as a PDF. It's searchable, click on stuff, it'll have hot links and everything.
I'm so excited to see it. That's gonna be wonderful, because that's one of the biggest things in cultivation is learning how to troubleshoot, right? I think
along those lines, most people just they start piecemeal and they don't set things up properly to begin with. That's the first thing. And then when they troubleshoot, they're not able to troubleshoot one thing at a time. Several things happen at once, and they don't have a good history of things. All you have to do is follow the instructions, and it works pretty well.
I think people nowadays, they get overwhelmed by how many different methods they can use, how many different ways they can set up a cultivation facility, whether or not you want to use an inert media or a soilless media or some kind of soil substrate or whatnot. I think you get decision fatigue, right?
Well, you can go so many places for so much information to find it out, and it's overwhelming. And then if you don't have experience with one particular thing and you set up a big project, well, you could have problems. For example, like I visited a company that had a problem with they have a nice filtration system, but they couldn't use cocoa. They could only use rock wool because there's no particulates that come off of that. Even with filters and everything, it was too much. So there's a lot of things that have to be considered. But the biggest thing I'm seeing that needs to be considered now is production cost. Because that's everything. Another example, like if we look at water, for example, how much water costs. When you go to water cannabis or a field of cannabis, which is a pretty low consumption crop, by the way, it takes a lot of it. And if you have to haul that water or buy it by the gallon, like I've seen done, you're at a disadvantage. But if you buy it by the acre foot for $50,
Yeah.
you can do pretty well, because you got to figure out your water usage, and I haven't seen everybody do that really well.
Yep.
So
And when you
there's a lot
have
of
those resources, readily available, like when I see outdoor facilities growing up here in Western Washington, they don't have an issue getting water. I mean, it rains all the time, but what they do have an issue with is drying, because when it comes time to cut everything down, now they don't have any dry space.
Oh my God. Yeah, it's expensive. See, that just drives
Yeah.
up the cost. And
Oh,
what I'm finding
definitely. Yeah.
is, if you grow, because I'm in California, and in Camarillo, California, north of LA, and it's all agricultural around here. And all I have to do is look around, and everybody's got plenty of water. They know exactly what's going on. Everything's flat.
Yeah.
It's really the place to grow.
Yeah.
And that's why there's several growers here. It works that way. But if you
Right.
have your land not flat and everything, and you have water problems, or drying problems, you have to put it somewhere.
Yep.
So there's a lot of different things that have to be figured out. Yeah. But so meantime, I'm doing that. I got the book going, and that's going to be released November 1st.
Cool. November 1st. What's the title of it?
It's called We Grow Cannabis.
Nice. I like it. Straightforward.
Yeah. Yep. It's like straight on. And it's important to say we, because everybody's involved. I think it's really important to involve more people, instead of just say, oh, there's only one way to do stuff, right?
There's so many ways to do things. Yeah.
A million ways. That's kind of like a good bad thing.
Yeah.
So now, and then after that, I'm going to redo I've already got it written, but the marijuana horticulture book. It'll be 6th edition. I make that also a digital book, but
cool.
I'll wait to talk about that more, because once it's developed and I'm going to release it.
Yeah.
And then let's see. And then the other thing, man, I got new site, Jorge Cervantes, Jorge
Dash.
Dash. Dash Cervantes. Yeah. I get mixed up. Anyway, .com. And that site's where you can sign up to get the free book, a preliminary, and also Seedsman's going to be releasing it as well.
Cool.
So that's a good deal, because they've got a bigger mailing list than I do. So I can get to more people faster. That's what I mean.
No, it's great.
Got to get it out.
Yeah. And this is exactly what I was saying, that your whole premise or your whole life modality is to just share the information that you've acquired over your 30 years of cultivation. Yeah.
40.
I'm so sorry. 40. That's right. That's wild to me. That's truly wild.
It's a long time. Long time.
So, so you have then smoked the original like Acapulco Gold.
Well, yeah, I was Acapulco Gold was grown there. Yeah, I went to university in what year in Mexico for just 1 year, and we took the university over. They had to leave the country, but after that. But we got the best stuff we got there. The Acapulco Gold was okay, but they dry it in the sun. And so that wasn't too good. But we would get one from Popo, the volcano that's close by, and it was purple because it was growing at a higher altitude. But that was really good. Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was, Popocatépetl. It was a non-water word. And
that's
then
awesome.
Also, Oaxacan. There was quite a good selection of Oaxacan. Michoacan as well, but that was kind of like it. That's what we were getting.
That's awesome.
To
and
get the other ones,
do you still smoke any of the new strains now? Oh, sorry.
No, you don't see them. Actually, they weren't quite as potent, But I'll tell you what, the Mexicans didn't export the best dope.
No?
No, they kept it. Uh, that's what we were smoking. I never saw that stuff up in America for years.
That makes sense. That
Yeah,
makes
yeah.
sense.
Oh, they
Yeah,
had
you want to keep
CBD
your
and
stuff.
everything, way before anybody. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Do you have like a go-to, what, you're living in Barcelona right now, yeah?
Right, right. Well, yeah,
So Barcelona sells medical still, but no recreational, is that right?
yeah. We have what do we have? Like the social clubs.
Social
Social
clubs.
clubs
Okay.
are where you can go in and you can be social.
Yeah,
It,
like a
but
lounge.
it's where you go in and you can buy cannabis and smoke it there, and they always have beers and stuff to drink, and so
Cool.
it's pretty good. You can hang out, and it's
Yeah.
like a bar, but the front door is closed, so you can't see people on the street, and
Yeah.
uh, and it doesn't have a name, so you can get lists of them and stuff, but they're not supposed to be advertised. But that's kind of like their solution, uh,
Yeah.
and it's gone up and down, kind of like back and forth between the city and then legal ones, illegal ones, and
Yeah.
property inspections and all of this stuff. So, but they're tolerating it. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
And
And do
that's
you
been
have
going
like
on
any, go ahead.
go ahead.
I was going to ask if you had any like go-to strains that are maybe more prevalent these days that some
Oh
of
yeah,
our listeners would be familiar with.
Northern Lights 5 Haze.
Oh yeah, Northern Lights.
It's
Yeah, of course.
pretty good. And
Hmm.
then, my God, I'm here in America. I got all of this. Well, I don't know. It's over like, but I got tons of different dope. Everybody
Nice.
gives me like about a kilo,
I
of
bet.
different
Yeah.
samples. No. It's just like it's, overdose here. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. And the edibles are a little wild in California. I can't even handle the edibles in California.
Yeah, yeah. They put them in everything.
Yeah,
You know,
they do.
little mints. Little
Yeah.
bit. You can eat those
It's
pretty
like
fast.
I'm just gonna want a snack and all of a sudden I'm 1,000 milligrams deep. Like
Yeah, that's
yeah, it's a day ruiner right there.
yeah, that's a hard one to get over. It takes a while, few
Yeah.
hours.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
Anyway, let's see. I was supposed to keep talking about different stuff. Oh, I know.
Oh,
The trade fairs. I've been going to
yeah.
trade fairs
Okay,
in
tell me.
Europe. I just started, because after COVID and stuff, it's been rough because
Yeah.
you know no fairs. There was Spannabis this year, which was great. I got to see
Yeah.
tons of people I hadn't seen for years. That's the biggest
Good.
one in America, or I mean
Yeah.
in Europe actually,
Right.
and that's in Barcelona. And then I also went to Trade, which is this year was in Bern, Switzerland.
Oh,
And
cool.
yeah, that's a great fair. I used to go there years ago,
Huh.
20 years ago. They were growing like for about 6, 7 years. They were growing fields of cannabis in Switzerland.
Yeah.
It was amazing. And then, yeah, but THC cannabis.
Yeah.
And then, so it's good. I got to hook up with a lot of old friends and stuff, and that was really nice. And then and then I went with Stefan Meyer, my partner, and he's Swiss, so he already talks 6 languages.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. That's
Yeah, so it's a
awesome.
lot easier because I mean I can understand Italian, but I can't make the conversations.
Okay.
And German
Yeah.
I don't get.
Yeah.
Uh, and French not so much. I can understand, but not so good.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we went to Amsterdam too, to Green Tech,
Green
and that
tech.
used to be the old NTV show, which was it's the biggest horticultural fair in the world. And
Really?
yeah, in Netherlands. And
Cool.
they've got them over. There's one in Paris. I think there's one or two in America now, but it's called Green Tech. It's changed. But here's the deal. Before, it was just greenhouses, and it was over in Alishmere by the airport and stuff.
Okay.
So it was all cold and everything. Now it's in a decent hall and everything. And the cannabis guys, since last year, have our own place. We have
Nice.
our own pavilion part. And people talk
Whoa.
to us and
Okay.
everything like we're normal and shit, man.
Yeah.
Great.
Destigmatization. It's getting you into the building, getting you some central air, some warm
Oh,
air.
yeah. Well, actually, it was in the summer. It was really,
Oh,
really
good.
nice. Yeah, it was. real pleasant,
Nice.
Amsterdam. And then Fluence Lights had this killer party right on one of the major canals.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
yeah, it was
Gotta love
great.
fluid.
Right next to an all the bridge tell or the bridge keeper and everything house. It's all the old stuff. Yeah.
Very cool. What was like one of the coolest products that you saw there? Is there anything like revolutionizing that you're excited about?
Yeah, one thing I like right there that this guy was developing an arm, a robotic arm to pick tomatoes, and I thought, man, you could use that to harvest cannabis, right?
Yeah.
Because and you could it had a light on it and everything to tell if the tomato's ripe or not.
Yeah.
Uh, so
That's
you
pretty
could,
cool.
yeah,
Some of
yeah,
those lights now have camera sensors in them to identify like pests or nutrient deficiencies
yeah.
and like ping you and tell you that you need to go give attention to that table. Those are pretty cool because we do that in big ag. You just fly a drone over the field or whatever, and it
Oh yeah.
identifies. Yeah,
Those things, yeah, that's been going on for a long time, and it
yeah.
works really
I've
well.
never seen it put into a light fixture until really recently, but
Oh, it's in the light. I didn't know it was in the light fixture.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So now they're putting it into the light fixtures that you would hang in your grow. The only issue that I noticed is that when people make these really sophisticated lights, they tend to make them as like a big sheet, and then that really disrupts your airflow if you kind of
Uh-huh.
have like this
Right.
air trap
Yeah,
or I
so
guess
maybe they need
umbrella, and it
the
just gets too
fingers.
hot on your canopy. Yeah,
Yeah, maybe
but
so.
people are starting to figure that out too.
Maybe. Oh, okay. And then the next one, I'm going to go in a couple of weeks or
Yeah,
less to MJ Unplugged.
where's that one?
That's in Las Vegas.
Oh,
And
cool.
that's the first trade fair I'll go to in America for years, years.
Wow.
Oh yeah, yeah. So it'll be pretty cool. I'm excited
What
to
weekend is
hang out
that?
there and stuff. Pardon?
What weekend is that?
It's 28th. I think. Let's see. Let
Of
me.
October?
No, no. Of this month.
Oh,
Let's see.
September. Oh,
Unpacked September. Yeah.
wow.
Yeah. 28, 29.
That's my birthday, so that's a good sign. Maybe I gotta
Well,
go to
good
Vegas.
deal.
Gotta go
Good
down to a
deal.
trade
Good
show for my
deal.
birthday.
Go to the trade fair, right?
Yeah, yeah. Vegas
So
does some good shows. They also have MJ BizCon there, and MJ BizCon is really, really well attended. It's pretty amazing.
it's huge. Is it still as big as it used to be? Because I
I
remember it got huge, and I don't
oh,
know.
the last time I was there, it was like two sections of the event center. It was so large. Like there
Oh,
was, yeah. So it was very big, and it took all 3 days for me to get through every booth, which was
oh my
pretty
God!
impressive. I was specifically looking for packaging, so I was like on a mission. But yeah, it took
Wow.
me a long time. Yeah, yeah, that was a good one though. That one has some pretty fun after parties as well. The after parties are a big draw for the trade shows, right?
No doubt, no doubt. I've always been really good at that.
Me too. If they could just pay me to go to the after parties, that'd be ideal.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Rest up during the day.
Yeah.
Don't waste your time.
No. Oh my
Yeah, but
god.
I don't know. I'm going to be out looking to see things. I want to see what's going on. If there's any like new breeding and stuff going on, because
Yeah,
I'm
I
pretty
wonder if
impressed with
they'll
the things
allow.
I've seen so far. But there's got to be some big leaps and bounds and stuff there.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of good breeders are coming out of the states that have lower like thresholds of entry basically. So like Oklahoma, for example, it's really cheap to get a license and it doesn't have a big cap on your canopy. In like Washington, we don't have a lot of breeders because our canopy is so regulated that it's really hard to sacrifice canopy space for breeding. But in some of these other states where it's just, a little bit more I don't want to say lax. That seems derogatory, but
Oklahoma and lax don't go together.
no, yeah. So yeah, people are able to do a lot bigger breeding projects and a lot more, stability analysis afterwards and things like that. So I'm sure people, if you tell everyone you're looking for seeds, they'll bring you some seeds.
Right. Oh yeah. Um,
Yeah.
but that's interesting because I've
Yeah.
always seen, seed reproduction or breeding and stuff. Uh,
Hmm.
it's there's so many places in America it can be done, and
Hmm.
it's for the very reason you said they don't want to sacrifice canopy for
Yeah.
breeding.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know,
just like we started this conversation, you have to think about your cost I always do it per square foot under the light or whatever. But
sure. You
yeah.
just got to get a unit of measurement,
Yeah.
and finally it comes up to a dollar amount.
Yeah.
For
Yeah. I
and
think
what you get out of it.
Yeah. And a lot of people, when they initially get into cannabis, they don't think about that. They don't even have a spread. I've consulted a couple times where I'm like, okay, where is your spreadsheet that breaks down your costs per gram or whatever, cost per whatever? And people don't have it. And I'm like, well, how could you possibly, if you made improvements, how would you even know you were
Yeah.
improving?
Yeah, that's not gonna work for them so well.
No,
The big
no.
head turner for me was this water thing,
Yeah.
and then the other part was the agricultural area
Mm-hmm.
because I see it, and I mean I was over in my hometown, Ontario, Oregon, and
Hmm.
it's row crops over there,
Hmm.
uh, beets, potatoes, onions,
Hazelnuts,
corn, uh, corn, and what else? Beans. Beans.
beans, more beans.
And
Yeah.
those are the crops that do well there. So
Hmm.
cannabis does okay there,
Hmm.
but you can grow. They got to develop specific varieties that'll do well there, you
Yeah.
know. And then other areas like here in Southern California, it's quite different. The all of the
Hmm.
conditions. It's hot, but not quite as hot. Depends on how close to the ocean you are.
Yep.
And I see specific varieties being developed. I mean, right here, I just came by a field, drove by it, and there was what do you call it? Celery this tall,
Really?
And so you can grow celery here. Celery's a tough plant to grow,
Yeah,
right?
I
And
thought people
like your
really
own
only grew celery hydroponically.
oh
That's pretty
no,
wild.
it's you got to have a cool climate, you
Yeah.
know. Uh, they plant it the right time of year. They're going into the winter time, the cooler
Hmm.
season. It'll start fast, grow fast. It won't get what do you call it, the fibers in it, like
Right.
they'll grow fast enough that they won't get tough,
Yeah.
but you can tell this climate is perfect for that.
Yeah.
So every climate's quite a bit different.
Hmm.
And you know, man, I've seen people move greenhouses from one climate to another, and things are just a lot different,
Yeah. I mean,
And
your pest pressures just to start would be different.
yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Hmm.
everything, every little
Everything's different.
detail, and it's just maybe that much different, but you
Yeah.
put five of them together, it's that big.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you're not keeping good records, then you wouldn't know which things
No,
you need to tweak.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Um,
and especially with how many good sensors we have for like relative humidity or your light intensity and things like that, we really should be able to keep better records of what's going on.
It's so cheap to do it too.
Yeah.
I mean, you
Yes.
can go on Amazon and get really cheap stuff that plugs into
Yeah.
your phone,
Oh, my
and
little
it's
brother did
decent.
that for his tomato garden, like just set up a little raspberry and like
Yeah,
monitored his tomatoes in his
and
front yard.
it took him, like, is a fun little project,
Yeah. Yeah.
but no big deal,
No.
and it didn't cost very much either.
Mm-mm.
Uh,
No.
you you can buy the sensors really inexpensively. Everything's digital, or I mean, wireless now.
Mhm.
This guy can talk to this guy, and you don't need
Yeah.
wires. That kind of stuff. It's a good deal.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, as long as you're not guarded about it, I think there's so much that you can learn and you can share and you can improve on. Yeah.
yeah,
A
yeah,
lot of people
and
are still very guarded. I think that that's a big issue. Like they don't want wireless sensors in case they're hacked or
I don't
something
know. I quit worrying
something
about a lot
silly.
of stuff.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, I've even
Sharing is
pulled
caring.
I even tell people the town I'm in now.
Yeah, yeah, that's pretty wild.
That's a big new one for me.
Yeah, but
Yeah, but I'm pretty amazed at how much growing is going on here.
hmm
Uh, and that water price, that's a huge thing. I just keep
hmm
getting back to it. And then all of the other expenses and stuff that people have been going through. Because
hmm
it seems like there's just a lot of bigger growers that are around. And then
hmm
Humboldt County, that's all kind of changed. Everything's changed so much because I drove from Seattle all the way down to here, and then I'll turn
yeah,
around. I'm not going to make it to LA.
yeah.
Uh, yeah,
It'd take you 4 hours to get there, 20, even if you're 20 miles away anyway. So,
there's a lot of traffic. It's hard. There's things to do and everything, and I apologize to people that I'm not
I
going,
love
but
it. Some
you
people do
know,
love it, and that's fine. They can have it.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's what this guy tell me. I just visited a couple of farms. They were pretty cool. Uh,
hmm
let's see. I visited. Oh gosh, what's her name? I want to make sure I get the name right because there's a couple of them that sound the
Yeah.
same, right?
Yeah.
It's Glass House,
Oh,
Glass
yeah.
House Gardens, yeah, and that's or Glass House Farms.
Yeah.
That's big. It's a huge place, and
Yeah.
but they've only been sorted for like 6 months, right?
Yeah.
So they've that's when they moved into this facility.
Okay.
And there's other plants growing in other parts of the greenhouses or other greenhouses on the same turf
hmm
because they've got uh, 3 power stations there.
Oh,
That
yeah.
that part's really interesting because what they do is they use natural gas to spin a motor to make electricity, right? Or
Okay.
to spin a turbine to make electricity. They're
Yeah.
getting it for 4 cents. Yeah,
Okay.
4 cents a kilowatt hour.
Kilowatt hour. Yeah.
4 cents.
That's
Yeah,
pretty good.
yeah.
That's pretty
So
good.
it's complex to get one of these things started, but you really have a low cost.
Yeah. No,
And
that's
there's
interesting.
and then they've got a lot of solar here too, or it's close by. Same Camarillo.
hmm Yeah,
But
we use a lot of hydroelectric in Washington State, which is kind of
see,
cool.
it's really inexpensive and it's
hmm
everywhere.
But
Just
and
like
we also have to grow primarily indoor. We can't really grow outdoors. There's a few people who grow outdoors, but you're really restricted by the humidity.
yeah,
So,
yeah, you can make a greenhouse.
mm, yeah.
Uh, there's low slung greenhouses. That's what they use everywhere around here. Are those low greenhouses
Yeah, we
all
need
the
a
way
lot of
up to
supplemental lighting in those, but
uh, they'll put very little just to keep they just harvest less in the winter.
yeah. Yeah, yeah,
Um,
that's a good plan. That works out.
and they
Yeah.
just have to keep the photo period up.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I went there to the Glass House Farm,
Oh, yeah.
and then I went to Los Alamos Gardens, which
Cool.
was friggin' amazing. I
I've
couldn't
heard of
believe
them
it.
actually. Yeah.
Yeah, it's they have the plants are they're about 2 weeks from harvest,
Okay.
and the part I concentrated on was just what I could handle, and that was only 40 acres.
Yeah.
And that's a lot. And they had a
Yeah.
lot of different varieties there, some big, very big, some medium, and others smaller.
Yeah.
But everything was heading up. The quality was just incredible.
Good.
Yeah, they don't get a lot of wind through there, and it's it's actually the old estate that Zorro used to have from Disney. It was
Really?
Zorro, yeah, Zorro. That's the
That's
land.
crazy.
That was the
Oh,
land grant he was
nostalgia.
given. Yeah. It's from the buildings. All the stuff's from like the 1826. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. But now it's all greenhouses around. Everything's flat. They've got tons of water. They've got a well that supplies everything. But it's really well run. And it reminds me of any other large greenhouse company, you know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I was really impressed by how well things
We're
are.
dialed in.
They really look good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
Nice.
that was quite cool.
Yeah. Yeah. People are really, I mean, putting your words into action in a lot of cases, right? So
Yeah, I guess
everything's
so.
going well for us.
I guess so. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and
You do
then
feel like a sense.
another place was Atlas Seeds. I went there that's outside of or well, yeah, real close to Sebastopol,
Okay.
further north.
Okay.
Sebastopol's over by Santa Rosa, north of San Francisco,
Okay. Yeah.
more toward the coast. And these guys, I asked them, because I just come from where people were having a hard time, not selling their crop and stuff.
Yeah.
So I stopped by and I asked him. I said, "Are you guys having a hard time here, with your with the cannabis market?" And he
Yeah.
says, "Well, we started out growing sugar beets, and now cannabis. It's not so hard for us."
Yeah. By comparison, when you're
Yeah.
selling like,
No, that's a commodity market. Everybody
yeah.
got into it. And the sugar beets, they got into it in Central Europe, and the
Yeah.
price went way down.
Yeah.
That's where I grew up around those things. So I know all
Yeah.
of this stuff from being a kid, right?
Right.
Yeah. So I always, you watch that stuff, right?
That's
I do. I
crazy.
don't know why. But yeah, it's just anyway. So yeah, they're the ones, they don't pay any, they buy water, but it's like he says he thinks about $50 a cubic meter, or a cubic a foot acre, acre
Oh,
foot, acre
oh,
foot. I get the meters mixed up. Acre foot,
yeah.
you
Yeah. Yeah.
know,
Yeah. Huh.
12 inches a square or an acre. Yeah,
Okay.
so that's
Cool.
really cheap. It's
That is
really
cheap.
like a
Yeah.
regular price, a good price.
Yeah.
Some places it can cost like 400 or 500 an acre foot. Oh,
Well,
it's really expensive. Yeah,
oh
yeah,
my
yeah.
God. Yeah. Yeah. I definitely think that we're going to see a shift of people moving up just, from
They're
the
changing.
hemisphere.
I've seen a lot. One of the guys I also visited was this guy, Dr. Clint Clinton Shock, and he's a professor emeritus from Oregon State University,
Cool.
and he's like, they consult him on everything for the cannabis program,
Okay.
because
Yeah.
he's got a degree in genetics and microbiology. So
Cool.
and he's like 80 years old, and he's just been breeding since, like, I don't know, he's like one of those fanatic guys like that.
Yeah.
And we went over to this, he's got a whole house full of seeds, like just for his research, just for him, just for
Cool.
his research, or yeah, a facility. And he's got everything and cannabis is just another plant.
Yeah.
And here's the
Just
clue.
for him.
Here's the
Yeah.
clue for the breeders. I got to give you a clue. This is what Clint told me. I said, "How much you spend on what's your budget?"
Yeah.
And he told me his budget was quite a bit. I'm not going to tell you that,
Yeah.
but his budget. I said, "What do you spend it on?" And he says, "Testing. I spend
Oh.
92% of my budget on testing."
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
That
the
makes
clue for
sense.
breeders. You
Yeah.
know, people need to be doing that.
Yep. Yep. No, yeah.
I mean, it is. It
Yeah.
is. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I listen to guys like that. He's got success behind him, because
Mm-hmm.
like we drove. He's already developed some auto flowers in like 4 years that are
Wow.
super strong, super healthy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the CBD content, he's still having trouble with that.
Yeah,
Um,
that is an interesting genetic component because it seems to be like some kind of gene duplication event that makes the different ratios, and breeding for that when your ploidy level's so high is really
yeah,
difficult.
it's got that curve that's just about like that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
almost a 45, I think.
Yeah.
It's,
Yeah. It's really interesting. Plants are hard to breed. I've said this before on the show, like humans ploidy level is only 21 and 22. And if you get all the way up into plants, or like strawberries, I think are 64 ploidy. So they have
right, right.
64 copies of every chromosome, which means you have to make that many, or you have that many opportunities to make changes. It's just very complicated.
There's companies like, okay, Pure Gene over in Zenigen, Switzerland. What
Okay.
those guys are doing is they've already decoded like 75 different cannabis plants, genomes
Really?
from them. Yeah,
Yeah.
and they don't have everything. They've got a lot of them.
Yeah.
not complete total genome from each one. But what they've got is they've got tons of markers, and they're
Hmm.
they're making physical measurements every week
Yeah.
on populations they're growing out, and they've got nice test gardens, but
Yeah.
they're able to make early selections because they can grow early on in the computer, actually simulate a crop or a population, and
Based on
then
genetic markers.
yes, and then the
Cool.
offspring, and then also other qualities. Yeah. So they're
Wow.
moving fast. They're moving about twice as fast
Yeah.
as anybody can normally,
Right.
because
Because
they're
we
applying.
normally would get to like, 4 weeks, 5 weeks or whatever and go like, oh, this is gonna be bad, and then cut it or
Oh
whatever.
no,
But
that doesn't even start. I mean,
mm,
they're already know
yeah.
sex ahead of time.
Oh yeah, for sure. But
Yeah.
I always like wait to see if yield is gonna be, very apparent by like week 3, week 4. You can tell when things are gonna be wispy and crappy
Well, yeah,
pretty early.
exactly.
Yeah.
But they've already
They
sorted
already
that.
knew.
It's
They already
yeah,
knew. They cut that
yeah.
out.
But
Yeah.
they had a plant
Wow.
that was like 7 meters long.
Whoa.
Yeah. And the other part that was incredibly interesting is that I didn't even think of it, because I come
Yeah.
from the drug side, right?
Yeah.
Well, they said all of the CBD plants, or the seed and the fiber plants and everything,
Yeah.
all of those, uh, they're all inbred lines, and they've got all of these qualities that the other plants don't have, but they're all stable. But they also
Yeah.
have a lot of trouble with problems such as pests and diseases. So they
Mhm.
need to be outbred, and they need the genes, both the THC and the CBD genes need to cross back again.
Oh, to
So
bring in a
we'll
little bit
have,
of hybrid vigor.
yes, yes,
Yeah.
and we'll also have stronger better fiber plants,
Yeah.
better seed plants. Yeah, yeah,
Wow.
it's a lot bigger than you'd think.
Yeah.
I didn't think
Yeah.
all of that stuff until I was over there
Until
and
you yeah. Yeah.
asked a million questions for a couple days.
Yeah.
It was just fascinating. It was
Oh my goodness.
really
Well,
nice.
Jorge, I have to say we're a little over time. That's not a big deal to me. Is there anything
Okay.
else you wanna mention before we sign off or anything like that?
Let's see. Anything? I've got notes.
Okay.
Let's see. Okay. No, I've said pretty much everything. I just
Great.
want to make sure, if anybody's got anything to want to talk to me personally about, I'll be at MG Unplugged,
Yeah.
and you know
Go find you.
get a copy of my new book. It's free.
Oh,
It's
I'm super
all about
excited. I'm gonna
growing.
be one of the first people reading it, I promise you.
Excellent. Excellent. Oh,
Well, okay. Well, thank you, Jorge, for being on. Thank you for everybody who joined us today or is joining us in the recording afterwards. Please remember to follow along with the North American Weed Tour presented by Respect My Region. We're getting really big this year, it seems like.
yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
like, subscribe, all those good things. And I will be back next Thursday at 2. Jorge, I'd love to have you back on at some point too. So maybe when
Sure,
your book
sure. I'll be
drops,
happy to be back. I want to.
we'll do it again.
I'll come
Okay,
back
good. Yeah.
after I
All
get
righty.
home. After I
Yeah.
get home, I'm dying to go home.
After you get home. Yes,
Yeah,
sounds good.
yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Okay,
Well,
okay.
thank
Well,
you.
Erin, thank you so
Bye.
much for having me. I really enjoyed it. It was a lovely time.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, bye.
Okay.